So my man Christian over there at the Frug Aesthetic just pumped out a vid talking about why the streetwear community sucks. And it seems that a lot of commentary has been made about him not really explaining anything when he did. In his own interesting way, but as the more ridiculously verbose channel that The Casual is, we decided that, hey, let's piggyback off of that ish and clarify what he was actually getting at. Or we might just be doing it to get more views. I'm not sure. This is part 2. That's next on the state. Let's get it. Ah yes, the streetwear community, built off the culture of skate, hip-hop, punk, and any other underground subculture, has become as much a part of the mainstream as the bulbous growth coming out of Kim Kardashian's back. The community is equal parts helpful and hell. And why? Because it's built almost entirely off of alpha male competition, even though there's a ton of betas out there. Think about it like this. All other forms of fashion, nearly all, but especially contemporary and high fashion, is subjective to each and every viewer. But in the spirit of decorum, fairness is applied. So you'll never see someone like Hader Ackerman saying that the new Gucci collection is whack, son. That just doesn't happen. But the streetwear community hasn't quite graduated from this. It's hard to be fair or objective in streetwear because too often people stand behind the brands and styles they love so damn much that if one off-putting comment or criticism is hurled at said brand or style or designer, they attack it like a pack of freaking wild wolves, bruh. And this is point number 1. More often than not, the community takes itself far too seriously. The brands you love aren't paying you enough money to be so damn loyal and fervent in defending them. In fact, they're probably not paying you at all. At most cases, they ain't paying you at all. You're paying them, which is crazy to me. Minus all that. Then there's the competition element, which is by far the most problematic element of the culture. For some reason, there is a mold that streetwear tends to identify with, and yet so many individuals continue to scream, personal style, yet at the same time judge others on their fits that fit the mold that streetwear has built, resulting in personal style, but you gotta look familiar to me. And then I'm gonna judge you. And if it's dope, I'm gonna compare you to others that fit my personal taste. Then I'm gonna make a list, and if someone disagrees with that list of the people that I think are dope, then they are effing crazy, which is absolutely the most confusing thought process ever. I don't get it. To clarify point number 2, there should be no mold. It's closed. It's creativity. It's personal. The minute that we close the door to more adventurous styles that don't necessarily fit the mold that streetwear has apparently been asphyxiated on for years is the minute that we don't evolve as a community. We say, let people wear what they want because if they are allowed to do so, we are presented with more ideas. Crazy that, but too often people are afraid to because we judge, making fashion a competition rather than expression. You think major fashion heads really care about who's more unique, who's more creative? Maybe they do. Okay, they do. But not all the time because they realize that's a recipe for disaster because the minute you start comparing yourself to others and create competition off of expression, and more people gravitate towards something else rather than what you kind of subscribe to, you are more likely to follow the crowd because you may not feel that you or your style is good enough. And that's not everyone, but honestly, it's most people because most people want to be a part of a community, not outside of it. So conformity begins to settle in, especially in streetwear. Which gets us to the final point. No matter what fashion community you're in, it comes down to status. This is not just streetwear, but the same elements that plague high fashion, pompousness, arrogance, elitism, and just a plain disregard for anybody below your approach has already creeped into streetwear. And everything we hated about high fashion and the industry surrounding it is what streetwear is beginning to become, if it hasn't already. And the obvious solution is to recognize it and be more receptive to evolution, to global and international culture with respect to street fashion, to gravitate towards what we truly love instead of going where the crowd goes, to know the rules and know the rules enough to break them, to understand the history and acknowledge it. As a community, the streetwear community, it was built on mutual respect for what we love, our lifestyle, but it will devolve if we continue to pour on all the negatives. Listen, Most of us love streetwear, street fashion. I love all of fashion personally. I moved all the way to Tokyo and stayed here for years just to get a different perspective on it. Plus, I just love Japan. Not many people agree with my personal take, but that's the point. You don't have to, but we can have a discussion about it like civil people. The vitriol, the attitude, the judgment gets us nowhere fast. And that's why it sucks. But we still love it because of the potential. But again, that's my take. What about you? What are the pros and cons of the streetwear community? Let that be known in the comments. Give a thumbs up if you like this video. Follow on Instagram for updates on the latest out of Japan. そして、まだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. よろしくお願いします. And I'll see you guys in a minute.